afternoon, everybody, and welcome into another exciting Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants broadcast. If you're joining us for the first time, as we do have some folks today who are doing just that, we are all about bringing conservation, adventure, and science into classrooms around the world. Now, as you will all know, if you've been human in 2025, AI is a very, very big topic. We just did a program a couple weeks ago with my charming wife, Chelsea, talking about AI and misinformation, and we are diving back in on a very different stroke today with a little bit about how AI can help save ecosystems, specifically the Serengeti ecosystem, one of the most special places on planet Earth, a place I've been lucky enough to visit myself. Everyone, when you're done this broadcast, if you can, go to the Serengeti in East Africa. It's a really, really special place. Now, to join us for this, we have the amazing folks at Digital Moment. They did a program with us last year that went over like a house on fire, and so we are so excited to dive in with more great stories with them this month, next month, June 2. Just stay tuned. We got a lot with Digital Moment to come. It's going to be a wild ride, and I'm so glad you're joining us for this special show. Now, without further ado, if my computer will deign to let me, and I apologize in advance if anything goes terribly wrong, it's all my desktop, so you can blame the iMac, blame Apple. Herman is joining us from Digital Moment to walk us through some of the amazing stuff we've got on the go. And I want to note, audience, we have a lot of interactive bits in this, so keep your fingers at the trigger ready for some fun Q&A. Avoca West grade 3s and our live classes, please do stick around too. I might come to you live for some queries as well. But anyway, without further ado, I'll zip it. Herman, thank you so much for joining us again, and welcome back to the broadcast, man.
So happy to be here. It's always fun. It's always great to get to talk to your audience and to bring these concepts today, as you said, AI and nature. So let me get started. My name is Herman. I work for a company called Digital Moment. What we do is that we help teachers and students to learn about technology. What do we do with technology? Just watch YouTube, send videos? Maybe. Can we send really great videos? Can we choose the things that we want to watch better? Can we create content? Can we code? Can we think in a different way? That's what we're exploring. And today, super excited to start thinking and exploring about nature and AI. As Jesse said, conservation is very important for Experience by the Seat of Your Pants, and so is for us. And we're going to tackle that. And we're going to see how can we help nature with AI. They seem very different things, different topics in different areas. How can we bring them together? And I didn't know Jesse went to the Serengeti. Maybe you know a little bit about the Serengeti. I'm going to be asking some questions. Now that we know where we're going, we're traveling all over the place to the Serengeti, and we're thinking about nature and technology. The first thing, and the first one that I need help from you, is that we have a photo here. This is a photo from the Serengeti. Doesn't look as beautiful as the previous one. It's hard to see. It's hard to tell what is there, but I want you to tell me. You can shout it out. You can put it in the chat. Do you see any animals in this photo? And if you do, what animals do you see? Let me know in the chat or just shout it out loud.
Yeah, we're getting elephants galore in all the chats everywhere because they're the biggest animal on land. So we know them, which is great.
That is fantastic. And we got giraffes also. Maybe you're seeing in the future or the past. I don't see them, but I'm sure you see them. That is great. So we're seeing displays. We're seeing elephants. What else can we ask? So the other question is, can you tell me what type of ecosystem this is? That's a bigger, harder question.
That is.
And we can start, is it terrestrial or aquatic?
Yeah.
Then we can go from there.
Land for sure. And then we've got, so for our students too, some of our younger students, like forest is an ecosystem, Arctic or tundra ecosystems. Does anyone know what this is? Terrestrial? Yeah. Savanna grassland is coming in on our YouTube chat, which is really great.
Amazing. Yep, you got it. You get a cookie. You get a cookie because yes, it's the grassland, it's the savanna. Really good. Now, a very weird question. It says, do you think it's important for conservationists to track animals and their environment? Just a yes or no will do. What do we think? Is that important?
We've got some yeses coming in, Herman, and I think they know where we might be going with this, which is great. If anyone's joined us before in our broadcast, we talk a lot about tracking in some of our programs, so they're on the ball.
Great. So the yes is a yes. Let's go with that. So we saw where we're traveling. We have some ideas now in our mind. Let's see some objectives. What are we trying to learn? There are three main things we're going to put a lot of emphasis on two. We want to see how important it is to maintain our biodiversity. In the whole world, we want to keep all the species of animals, plants. We want to keep this interaction that we have with the ecosystem. So we're going to see how important this is. The other one is that now we're going to think about AI, artificial intelligence, machines that are finding patterns and learning and making predictions. How can we use this to help in maintaining this biodiversity? We have something, a question. Define biodiversity for the kids, please. Great. So when we think of biodiversity, we think about many, many different types of species of animals and plants. When we think, if we say monodiversity, that I don't think doesn't make sense because will be only one species. But where we're going, we have so many types of animals and so many types of plants. So we want to have all these different things exist and thrive so the world becomes more important, more interesting, and better entangled in what we do. I hope that helps. And please keep posting your questions, and I'll do my best to answer. And we may talk a little bit about what are some benefits of AI and potential challenges. Now we get into our virtual vehicle and we're going to travel to this place called the Serengeti. And we're going to see this ecosystem. What can we learn from it? The first thing is that the Serengeti, oh, I gave you an answer, but that's okay. There are many more questions. Where is the Serengeti? Where has Jesse been? The Serengeti is in Tanzania, in Africa. So we're bound for a long flight, and this is a national park. Maybe you've been to national parks here in Canada or other places around the world where we let these big spaces just thrive the nature, where we don't build this many things, where we don't visit all the place, we let the animals, the plants coexist in a natural balance. This is very famous because it has many, many, many different species, and there are many species that we all are very inspired by, like giraffes, as you said, the elephants, hippopotamus, tigers, lions, tigers. I don't think tigers, lions, but then we have all these species living, and we have here that around 70 different species of large mammals. So we're not counting rodents and small mammals. These are big mammals. It's a big, expansive place, as you can see here. And one of the interesting things is that it has looked like this, it has been like this for over 1 million years. So we know we strap ourselves, we travel to Serengeti, we know that we've seen movies like The Lion King depicting the Serengeti full of color and life. Now, let's see what else can we figure out. Is this ecosystem, is this place, are these animals, are these communities at risk? Sadly, yes, they're at risk, mostly because of human activity. What we've done through the years, we know that there are challenges with climate change. And then the species that don't adapt fast enough suffer the most. We don't want that to happen. We want to help and combat and beat climate change in a way. And while this is happening, we want to help the species and the ecosystems thrive, to do really, really well, because we don't want some of these species to be extinct. So now we know where we are, beautiful place, full of life, but with challenges. What can we do? So this is where the part about tracking animals comes into play. And there's a big program that is trying to help the animals, the plants, the ecosystem is by having motion sensitive cameras that capture pictures of different animals. Imagine there's a picture in your classroom, a camera in your classroom that is always there. And when somebody moves in a specific way, it takes a photo. And if it takes photos over time, over years, you can reconstruct kind of who has been in the classroom, what has been the classroom like, all these ideas, but we're doing it for the Serengeti, for this wonderful place. And the pictures are taken and they look like this. Wonderful images, some of them really artistic, some very hard to guess. But then there are volunteers, people like you and me, that go and receive these images and they give them labels. Something like this: the species is a cheetah. The number, we have only one cheetah. And what is it doing? It says resting. I would say it's maybe modeling or pondering. One of those things. It seems to be thinking deeply about something. So this is great. How can this help? Is this efficient enough? Let's see what can we learn. But we're going to do another round of asking questions, because now we're going to play the role of volunteers. So to play the role here, I want you to tell me what is happening, but I'm going to make it a little bit easier because these images get harder. The first thing, I want you to tell me, what animal species do you see? Is it an aardvark, elephants, ostrich, baboons? Oh, somebody already said zebra.
Yep.
Warthog, buffalo, human, or zebra. We have zebras already. We have number two. Number two? Oh, I think you're saying how many? You have too fast. Are you reading my slides? That is great. Two zebras. And we have here with the wonderful pajamas here and wonderful pajamas, two zebras grazing on grass. You guys are, what is this witchery? I love it. So we have, they're grazing. So in this case, we can say they're eating. Pajama day at Boca West. Okay, that is great. We could also say they're standing and eating. So these are the types of labels that the volunteers are using. I have another one. Let's see. It's gonna same process, hopefully more challenging. I see you guys are really good. Now, what species do we have here? And I'm not cheating. This is one of the images that gets captured. It's hard to see.
Yeah, we have a bunch of YouTubers that are really on the ball too, so we're going to check in on their answers as well. But they did a really nice job with their zebra query, so let's see how they do with this one. It took me a second to see what was in this one. Which of these species does anybody know? Our live class says gazelle. Who might be? I don't know. There's one that's maybe look in the bottom right is where I finally saw it, but he blends in really well in this picture.
So it's tricky. It's really, really tricky.
Really tricky. Oh, we do have warthog coming in online, so that's nice. We got elephant. So I think warthog might be our correct guy in our corner there. Yeah,
is the warthog, and I see how you may think that it might be a buffalo or maybe an elephant, because it just looks like an image that is coming in frame, and we see a little tusk going up, so it's a warthog. And how many? We have one. And what is the warthog doing? This is going to be an easy one because it's kind of moving. So that is great. The third one, don't get mad at me. This is going to get really hard, but we go into different stages. We're trying to see what these volunteers are doing. Wow. So what species do we have here?
Wow.
I know this is not fair.
I really I've got to tell you, kids, I honestly don't know what's in this picture. Maybe in the distance, like the far background on the right, there's something, in that level. And there could be something that's like blending in close up. I would say that, like, if it was me and I don't know the answer to this, that's a zebra in the distance on the right. And there's one for sure, and maybe three others that are sort of to his left. That's right. That's what I think. So it's 4 zebras if it's me. But I could be completely wrong. We've got ostrich coming in. We've got ostrich online as well. So a bunch of people think ostriches. I think zebra. What do we
Perfect.
know?
So I'm not going to say it yet because I know this is not fair. It's very hard. Jesse's guesses of where they are, they're really good, but there are more here, but it's very hard to see. How many do we see? One, two, or three or more?
3 or more. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
three
go.
or more. And what are they doing?
They're standing, I think.
Yeah, at this distance, they could be singing or dancing, and
They
I don't
could.
know. But standing sounds pretty good. The reveal, remember, don't get mad at the messenger. The reveal is gazelle.
Ooh.
Then it's really, really far, very hard to see. So the guesses were great, but it's hard to figure out, correct? Now we're going to do a think, pair, and share. So what we want to do is we know that there are thousands of volunteers all over the world that they're labeling these images in order to get this information to the conservationists so they can figure out what is happening. So if we have that, we know that this process of the volunteers getting the images, labeling them, and sending them back, it can take up to a year. That's a long time. So we have two questions regarding this. The first one, what problems did we face when we were trying to identify the animals? What was very confusing or hard?
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, and I'm curious what our audience thinks, like that first picture, easy. They're right there. They're bright. They're colored. Second one, the warthog sort of blended in. A few of you got that wrong, and it's hard to know. The third one, they're really far away, too dark, camouflage. All good answers on YouTube. Live classes too. You guys are like, this is fantastic. Moving, blurring, so an animal running really fast. Maybe most of them are camouflage. So like, these are all great reasons, guys.
Yeah, and I really like the concept of camouflage because they're trying to camouflage themselves. They're trying to protect themselves. So the zebras have the lines and all this. We know that this is what's happening. And it was really hard. I agree with Jesse. The first one gives us that false sense of confidence. We feel like, yes, we got this. And then, oh boy, this is getting really hard. Now, the second question is, why do we think that having a delay, taking 1 year for these images to get to the conservationist can be a problem?
What do we think, guys? Great. You guys have been such a great audience so far. Really quick to answer these questions, which makes it extra fun. So a year long. If someone took a picture of, your local park now, and it took a year for them to find out what was going on. So because they'd be better served knowing the numbers now, which is a pretty perfect answer in Ms. Riddle's group. Any follow-ups to that, guys? Yeah, if we're studying species and it's a different picture, we don't know where the animals are now, like where they are. So if we're tracking individual animals and it takes a year to find it, that animal's long gone. These are great answers, guys. You're killing it.
Yeah, that is perfect. Because if we take a look at data that is 1 year old, we're looking at the past. That is very good. But if we want to act, Jesse's example of the park, I want somebody to see the state of the park now so that if something is broken or is dirty, can be cleaned or fixed right away. The same thing in this case. This is where we start saying, can we AI this? And before we go and see what is being done, you guys are too good. So I'm going to stop here for a second and I want to know, what can AI do to help?
Let's see, guys. So I'm really curious. You guys have been such a great audience with this, and we've never done a program quite like this. So I was really interested beforehand how this is going to go, but you're doing such a great job. So AI, artificial intelligence, an intelligence that isn't like ours and doesn't rely on volunteers to spend a year looking through things. What do we think that AI might be able to help with? Faster identifying. So that's, I think, certainly on par with where we're going with this. It can track numbers, patterns, and ID animals faster. Really cool. Yeah. So we did a program with beluga whales taken from space, and it was people counting versus a machine that could just be like, oh, there's 37 there. So that's a really good example. Any others coming in? We'll give it a few more seconds for you to get your queries in. But these are great.
Yeah.
track changes over time. Really, really good,
And
perhaps.
you could get more pictures and understand them from grade 3. That is fantastic. So my
Amazing.
guess was correct. I didn't need to go anywhere. You have your intuition, you have the knowledge. Identify animals that need help. So good. Let's see how AI is helping. So, DeepMind, a branch of Google, took this as a challenge and said, you know what? Let me see. Let's get this figured out. Let's see if with AI we can help. And what they did is that they took information and they created their things, blah, 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 all the AI, and now the AI is capturing the photos that the sensing cameras take, and they're labeling the work that the volunteers were doing. And this is helping a lot. But today is all about questions, especially way too much. I need to ask more questions. What do you think that DeepMind, the scientists and the computer scientists that created this system, use in order to create the AI? What information did they feed the AI so the AI could learn that this is an ostrich and is one and is walking? What did they put in? Did they put sounds? Did they put images? Did they put text? What do you think they fed?
Yeah. Let's see what we got on YouTube. Yeah, so we've got lots of pictures of them, lots of images from various angles. That's a great idea. So that's how you know what an ostrich is when we see an ostrich, same idea. Now we've seen it sort of from behind. We've seen its big leg there. It's actually kind of an odd image of an ostrich. So if you train it with that sort of data, then it'll really know what they look like. They show real pictures that are identified by volunteers. That's a great answer. Is that we
Perfect.
take things that people have already said, yep, this is an ostrich, and we've said it to the AI. So the AI really knows from that. Very cool 3D model of an animal. So we're going maybe really hardcore high tech. Very cool. Great answers, guys.
Yeah, because in this case, everything you said is correct. And it's very important to think that is the images that are being collected plus the work of the volunteers. That way, the computer is shown this image and the computer says that is a crocodile, and then it compares the guess with what the volunteers wrote. It's an ostrich. And then doing this over and over and over, the computer adjusts all these numbers and knobs and things, and then it makes better predictions. So yes, all the images that were captured. Why is this better than relying on the volunteers? Oh, you guys already said this, but you want to tell me?
Yeah, let's see. You guys did already share this. If you want to share it again, what do we think? So doesn't take a year, doesn't take as long, automatic. That's true. If you put something online, if you put 10,000 images and you're waiting for people to go answer them, it can take a while. But if you do that with AI, that can be done in literally like a few seconds. And so that's our biggest advantage, perhaps. It's the only one that people have mentioned so far. It's the only one that I can think of off the
And
top.
we have also AI can identify things faster. So that is great. And the last part is who benefits from the predictions that are made. Who
See,
benefits from this?
I'm going to give you a hint because we feature these scientists a lot. What kind of people come on in and really need to know about animals, where they are, how many there are? Maybe we just did a whole big series on this last week. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. So yes, biologists, conservationists, governments, like anyone who's looking, scientists, anyone who's looking to help animals, the more we know, the better we're able to help them. And so this is a really, really effective tool for this. Great job, guys.
Fantastic. Then I have it just with this amazing photo, conservationist, in all the shapes that you're saying here and that Jesse explained. Everybody that wants to learn and be involved in protecting this and every other ecosystem benefits from this process. The animals themselves, because if the conservationists do the job properly and we support them, then the ecosystem and the animals within this ecosystem are going to thrive and are going to be better through these hard times. This one is one that we don't think that much, but this is you. It's as ecology students. if you want to learn more about nature, if you want to learn more about the way these communities interact with each other, if you just want to see something different, this is great. And at the end, all of us benefit because then we get to keep these precious resources and these wonderful places for everybody to enjoy and for the world to benefit. Now, we're almost there. You might be asking, what can I do? Can I be one of these volunteers? Are there options? Are there ways that I can interact? And you are today. By being here, by learning, thinking about this and sharing it with your family and friends, you're already helping. But there are also something that projects that are called citizen science projects. And these are projects that rely on people, on volunteers to help them, like in this case, label things or support with tasks that maybe need more people to work on them, that is available in terms of scientists, professionals, or paid uh, workers. One of them is called the Zooniverse. And these, there are many projects that you can go and visit there, and you can help. You will see every time you go, you're going to see a lot of people that are involved in different projects, identifying different animals in places, plants, corals, so many different things. It's a wonderful project to get involved in. And the other one is keep coming to Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants, because this happens here all the time. And that is what I have to tell you today. Now we're going to hear what questions do you have? What things do you want to share with me?
Ooh, well, Herman, thank you so much, first and foremost, for such a fun presentation. That was totally unique. We've never done anything quite like that before. So really appreciate it. And I think we've certainly given our classes something to think about. YouTubers, if you guys want to share in the chat, we'd love to hear from you. Please do bring in your questions, as many as you might have on AI, nature conservation, all sorts of cool stuff together. And our folks in Glenview, if you guys want to come on up and ask any questions of Herman, I can come to you in a second. One quick thing to sort of lead us into a question. Are we just getting started with AI for conservation? Have we been doing this for a while? Do you know where we're at in the sort of history of this for use in nature?
Limited knowledge. So I'm going to tell you the part that I know is we've been trying this for a while, but the AI growth has been slow, and then it has exploded. Yeah. So right now, because of the technical capabilities of the systems, these type of projects evolve much faster. And there's so much more that can be done with the help of AI in conservation.
Yeah. We just had a series not too long ago with the World Wildlife Fund, and they actually had a whole episode on cutting edge technology for nature, and AI is just starting to be used in a really big way by a lot of conservation groups. So exciting times. And I think certainly by next year's broadcast, like when we start up in September again, you're going to start seeing a lot more conservation organizations using tools exactly like this, because it's so fast, because it's so effective. It can sort of turbocharge the ability of scientists to make positive difference. So great first query, guys. All right, Ms. Riddle's class wants to know, how well does AI identify things that are far away? So we had those three pictures. The two that were up close were very different than the ones that were like, oh, it's a zebra. No, it's a gazelle. Do we know where the technology is on that right now?
I love that question so much. And it's a little bit of, you got me. So it doesn't do that such a great job. Why? Because there's not that much information for the system to capture the right information. But the beauty is that it can take a look at a series of pictures, and then it can help identify the image, and then starts learning that in special places, those dots mean specific things. The same way that if you had a chance to look at the same landscape for a while, and you get a chance to identify some of the things, you get better at it. But if we train it just with nothing, then will be very hard. So is it better than a human? It's going to be faster over time, not at the beginning.
Yeah, I love this too, and we're going to have to make my class in a minute. But guides are a great example. When you go out to the Serengeti live, you're a tourist, and you're like, "What's that thing in the distance?" And your guide, who's from Tanzania, is like, "Oh yeah, that's this," and they know that because they've seen it like 20,000 times over their many years of being in the field. And so, the more experience you get, the better you get. The same is true of AI. I love this question. Again, we're always seeking to improve the technology. So, great query, guys. All right. Let's head to Illinois, our grade 3 lunch crew. Hello, folks, and take us away with the first question. Hey.
How many kinds of animals are in the Serengeti?
Ooh, that's you got me. I don't know. I really don't know. It's such a vast area, and there are so many different type of animals. The only fact that I had here is we're talking about 70 large type of mammals. But then imagine how many more smaller mammals do we have everywhere compared to large mammals. So that is just a tiny subset. And that's not counting all the birds, all the reptiles, all the insects. So I'm going to give you my very, very weird answer. I'm going to say 1,232 million among everything.
You're hilarious. It's one of the most biodiverse areas in East Africa, certainly. So it's a place that people come from all over the world to see wildlife, and as you said, particularly big wildlife. So in your own backyard in North America, we have tons and tons of insects. Now they have more in a place like the Serengeti, but the thing that really makes the Serengeti special, the reason why so many scientists study it, is that there's so many big creatures. You can go there and see a rhino and a lion and an ostrich and a hippo and a giraffe all in like 10 minutes and in the wild and thriving there, which is a really, really special thing. So I love this query. And, the more we study, the more we find new species. And I can tell you definitively, there are more species that we have not discovered yet in the Serengeti than that we have. So especially if you're looking at the realm of the very small, get out there and be a scientist yourself, and you'd be amazed what you can discover. So great query, guys. All right, we're going to come back in just a second to that. We've got one from Mr. Mills' class. This is a tricky one. Has AI discovered any new species? Have we found anything novel because of AI?
Not as far as I know.
Yeah.
So that would be the short one. I don't think yet. But if we take what we learned here today, is something that is going to help a lot discovering new species. But maybe not the way that you're thinking. It's not that we're sending AI as a robot or a drone trying to find different things. But what is going to help is that when we have two different organisms that look very similar, imagine two frogs that look very similar, AI is going to be able to help us find differences between them that will turn them into two different species. So it's a little bit more subtle.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to highlight too that no matter what we do when we find species, we do need to have someone physically put their hands on it and understand it and process it and know to prove that. But it's a really interesting point. When we go into rainforests, we put up big white sheets, we shine a light on them at night, and like a bazillion bugs will land on that. And we collect those bugs and we find out if they're new species, and we often do find them. And so AI, that's an example that jumps to mind for me, could be used to assess things like that and really find out what's going on. That's a really cool question, guys. I love it. All right, we're going to head back to Illinois in just a minute, but we got one from Ms. Modi's group. They want to know, are we able to deploy cameras and send a message to rangers if there are poachers? That's a really interesting one.
Yes, the answer is yes. And I know more than cameras. There might be, my knowledge is limited in some of these parts, but I know it's been done with sound and with AI, because then you can have systems that are monitoring sounds within the area. And then when it hears a sound, it can determine from, or can distinguish from lightning to a gunshot to a crack or a whip. And then it can try and guess the location by the time the sound took. And then it can help the conservationists or the rangers go on and help in that area. And that's something that is very important, is because imagine the Serengeti is a huge place, and then you have limited number of people serving it. So you need to have somebody giving you an idea where something is happening.
Yeah, that's. I was going to say that's exactly the answer I was going to highlight. And we've actually done things like that in the past, and you can use AI for that, but you don't even need AI for that. It's a thing that will be enhanced by artificial intelligence, but we are already using sound-based technologies to see where poachers or people logging a forest where it's the sound of chainsaws. All of those things are really, really helpful. Very cool question, guys. All right, Illinois, come on back in grade 3s and take us away. Hey.
How does the AI help the animals?
Ooh.
That is a great question. And it helps the animals in many different ways. In what we're seeing today, the AI over time, as it labels those images, is going to help the conservationist understand what is happening over time. So it can see that the population is increasing, that is decreasing, if there's disease, if there's drought, if there's flood, if there are hunters. So by accelerating this process and gathering lots of data, can figure out things that are happening in that environment. Let's say that in your house, let's say you have a smart camera, and then it can detect things that are happening in your backyard. And maybe you can see what is happening in your backyard at night, and how can you have a better backyard for animals, for different species.
Yeah. I love this query, and sort of linking the last two questions together. One of our YouTubers asked if we could send a link to an example of acoustic monitoring where we're listening for animals. And one thing that was really neat that I completely forgot about came up. Elephants communicate in infrasound when they're stressed and angry sometimes. They have a very distinct thing. So infrasound is sound that is below the level of our hearing. If you've ever felt like music in your chest where it's like thrumming your chest, you don't hear that. You sort of feel it. Elephants can talk in that sort of language, and they do it particularly when things are chasing them or they're in stress in some way. And so using acoustic monitoring and AI, we can assess those things, find out where elephants are having an issue, and maybe send rangers in like a helicopter to go investigate and see what's going on. So these are really, really, again, it's like cutting edge science. We're just at the cusp of starting to do this in a big way. And kids, if scientists are as adept as you guys at coming up with ideas, we're going to be in a really good situation in the next few decades to come. So Herman, this has been so much fun. Time flies and you're having fun. I'm going to highlight again, you guys have an amazing website. There's so much to explore there. We're going to be doing a program on plastics in May, so I can't wait for that as well. And students, stay tuned for that on our channel. But is there any last message you want to leave our kids with before we say a big thank you and farewell today?
Yeah, the big message I want to send first is a huge thank you for being here. And the second one, and most important, is the questions that you presented today are key. I want you to please keep asking those questions, keep being curious, keep being trying to find out why things happen. What is the potential of something? Ask your teachers, your friends, ask yourself, your family, and then things are going to be so much better. We have a wonderful future ahead because I know that your generation is thinking about the important aspects and doing something about it. Thank you.
This generation's the best. You kids, if you just keep it up, you know so much. You're so keen to help out. You're way better than my generation, so way to go. And keep on listening in these broadcasts, and you'll learn even more ways that you can help planet Earth and all its species. And just really, really appreciate you all being here. Herman, such a thrill, man, as always.
Always.
Thank you very much. And we'll bring in our Avoca West class to say thank you and farewell as well. Have a wonderful day.
Shout out.
Bye. We'll see you all soon. Thank you.